Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. So today we are looking at the analysis for the 2018 race for the Arizona Senate. Um, Last night, 6 days after the election, voting ended on last Tuesday. Um, they finally called the state for Kyrsten Sinema. Um, Overall, Arizona is one of the closer states of this cycle. Florida, I would say, is probably closer, but it's a pretty close race. Um, and from looking at this map, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the map. Um, we're going to take a look at how the polls fared against what actually happened. And the exit polls. We always take a look at the exit polls. First thing I'm going to do, first let's take a look here. The reason why I think Kyrsten Sinema won is she narrowly won Maricopa County, and Maricopa County is one of the bigger counties in the state of Arizona. Another reason why is she was able to run up in Santa Cruz County, in Pima County, um, in these counties over here. And I think Martha McSally would have done better if she would have ran it up better here. It was a closer race, 6 points. Here in Yuma County, it's not very close. It's still a 6 point margin. I will say that. However, that 6 point margin wasn't enough compared to the absolute whopping that Kyrsten Sinema delivered here. In Pima County, which is way bigger than Yuma County, Kyrsten Sinema destroyed. But yeah, the biggest two counties, Kyrsten Sinema won. So it kind of makes sense. One thing I do want to do real quick, I want to see what would have happened if all the Green. I'm not saying all the Green Party voters would have voted for Martha McSally, but I do want to see hypothetically what would have happened. Let's see here. Let's pull out the calculator. Um, Calculator. Should have had this pulled up. Sorry. 47.96 plus 2.36. 2.36. So that would have Martha McSally having a narrow win in the state for the Senate. Now, most of the Green Party voters would have voted Democrat, I will add. The Green Party is usually more left-wing, and it's closer to the Democrats than the Republicans. So places like here, Kyrsten Sinema would have been able to narrow these smaller but still important counties, and basically helped her run up the margin even more in these counties, and definitely would have won Maricopa. Now let's take a look at what actually happened versus the polls. The polls at the end of the race, sorry, Real Clear Politics has a ton of ads. So we have McSally up by 1 versus Sinema up by 1.7. So pretty much what we see here, most of the undecided voters ended up going for Kyrsten Sinema. Martha McSally did gain a little bit, 0.5%, over where she was expected in the polls, but overall that wasn't enough. As you can see, there was a tie in a Fox News poll. But towards the end, it was close, but McSally had the slight lead. Let's take a look here. Now, the reason why this looks so very lopsided at the beginning is because the Republican primary took way longer than the Democratic primary. So she was like getting absolutely killed in the polls. Then people slowly came back to the Republicans after their other candidates like Joe Arpaio lost. Ultimately, in the closing stretch, Sinema was leading, and then at the very end, it flipped to McSally. Um, Overall, I think these polls were pretty good. I would say for the most part, they were within the margin of error. This one in the margin of error, this one in the margin of error. Like a lot of them they weren't exact, but they were within the margin of error, and that's all you can ask for from a poll. Now let's take a look at some exit polls. Um, this was interesting. There wasn't as much of a gender gap, partially because they were both female, but most people were saying the Republicans weren't doing as well with females, which is true. But males are a dead heat, 49-49, and I'm gonna take the no answer as the green. 65 and older voters voted Democratic, which is very surprising. They were 29% of the vote. Usually, the older you get, the more Republican you are. This was not the case in that race. Younger people still voted for Sinema by a wide margin, but 45 and older just was slightly more for McSally. White people ultimately voted more for McSally. Non-whites usually do really well. The Latino vote is huge in southern states. They went 70-30 for Sinema. That's pretty good. Race by gender. White men and white women apparently went for McSally, which is interesting to me. High school or less went for Sinema, which is usually Republican, and then upper education is usually more Democratic. College graduates, yeah, makes sense. Income, yeah, income's where it usually is. Party ID, obviously Democrats voted Democratic, Republicans voted Republican. Independents went slightly for Sinema. Let's see here. Ideology, conservatives vote Republican, not as much as liberals voted for Sinema. But moderates went heavily for the Democrats. That's one thing I found for a lot of these. Moderates are voting Democrat, which could potentially be how things play out. That could affect how things play out in 2020. It's too early to tell. There are no polls really. But yeah. So thanks for watching this video. Comment down below what you thought. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can join us on the subreddit, JPC Reddit. Tell me what to do in future videos, and I will see you all later.